With Stranger Things Season 5 on the horizon, and Hawkins literally falling apart, fans everywhere are asking the same question: who is going to die? Because this show does not shy away from emotional damage, and let's face it, someone's getting obliterated. So I made a tier list for every main character heading into Season 5. The categories: 100% dead, most likely dead, 50-50, will probably live and will live. And not only that, I'll explain exactly how I think they go out, if they go out at all. Let's start at the top of the list. Let's start with the one character we all know is finished: Vecna. Vecna's not walking out of Season 5 alive. There is zero chance. I mean, this guy is the architect of everything twisted and evil that's ever happened in Hawkins. Every single major death, every monster we've seen, the Mind Flayer, the Demobats, the vines crawling into people's skulls, all of it traces back to him. What makes him different from other villains in the show is that he's not just a monster. He's not a mindless creature like the Demogorgon or even the Mind Flayer. He's strategic. He's got a vision, and that vision is complete and utter annihilation. He's trying to rip a hole between worlds, merge the Upside Down with our reality, and turn Hawkins into a permanent hellscape. And you know what? He's close. At the end of Season 4, the gates open, the town is broken, and no one outside the core group even realizes what's coming. This is the final boss of Stranger Things. You can't end the series without taking him down. I don't think it's going to be a one-person takedown either. This will be a full-blown multi-character showdown. I'm talking Elle tapping into every ounce of power she's ever had, Will fighting his connection to the darkness, and maybe even Max if she wakes up playing a role from the other side. Could even be something where Eleven and Will both have to die or be changed forever just to stop him. Vecna won't just be defeated, he's going to get obliterated. I think the show is going to make his death personal, painful, and absolutely final. Verdict: 100% dead. Next up, the most likely dead tier, starting with Will Byers. Let's be honest, this kid has never truly escaped the Upside Down. Not mentally, not emotionally, not spiritually. From the very first episode of the show, Will was the spark that lit the entire fire. And in Season 4, the show made one thing very clear: Vecna still has a grip on him. That moment when Will touches the back of his neck and says he can feel him, that wasn't just a callback, that was foreshadowing. I think Will's gonna become Vecna's vessel. Maybe he gets manipulated, maybe he gets fully possessed, or maybe he's part of some horrifying ritual that allows Vecna to try and merge world. And what's worse is I don't even think Will fights it right away. There's a real possibility that for part of Season 5, Will becomes the enemy, either unknowingly or unwillingly. But here's where the tragedy kicks in. I think Will's going to be the key to ending it. I think he realizes that the only way to stop Vecna is to end himself, a self-sacrifice. One final act that rips the connection between the real world and the Upside Down permanently. It would bring the story full circle. The boy who is taken becomes the boy who ends it. It's poetic, it's tragic, and it's probably inevitable. Verdict: most likely dead. Now let's talk about Steve Harrington, the protector, the babysitter, the reformed high school king turned emotional anchor of the entire cast. Let's not sugarcoat this. Steve Harrington is in serious danger. His character development over the past 4 seasons has been textbook perfect. He went from a shallow, insecure jock to someone who literally throws himself headfirst into danger every single time. He became the guy who dives into the Upside Down with no powers, no plan, and no hesitation, just to protect the people he loves. And unfortunately, in narrative terms, that's a massive red flag. See, in shows like this, characters who have complete arcs, who go from selfish to selfless, from arrogant to compassionate, they don't usually make it to the end. Their stories are written in a way that makes their death meaningful. Steve has already peaked emotionally, and now he's perfectly positioned for a heroic sacrifice. Let's look at the way Season 4 set him up. He reconnects with Nancy, rekindling something that's been simmering since Season 1. He deepens his bond with Robin in a friendship that's become one of the most emotionally rich parts of the show. And he continues to be a big brother to Dustin, arguably his most important relationship. That bond became the emotional core of Season 3 and reached new levels in Season 4. All of this? It's setup. Painful, brilliant, intentional setup. So when Vecna makes his final push, when the world starts crumbling and the group needs someone to step forward, you know Steve's going to do it. No hesitation, no fear, just pure instinct. I can see it now. He's the one who holds the line, who buys the others time. Maybe it's for Dustin, maybe it's for Nancy and Robin, and maybe all of them. And when he goes down, it's not just a loss for the team, it's a loss for us, the audience. Because Steve isn't just a side character anymore, he's one of the most beloved in the entire series. And that's exactly why the writers might take him from us. Because if this is truly the final season, and they want the pain to stick, Steve Harrington's death would do it. Verdict: most likely dead. And then we've got Joyce and Jonathan Byers, 2 characters with completely different trajectories, but somehow they both might be walking straight toward the same tragic end. Let's start with Jonathan. He's always been the quiet one, the watcher, the protector in the background. While the others charge into danger, Jonathan's the guy who shows up. He's never been flashy, but he's dependable, consistent. He's the one holding the camera while everyone else is falling apart. But in storytelling terms, that's exactly the kind of character who sacrifices himself. He's got this deep-rooted sense of responsibility to Will, to Joyce, and even still to Nancy, despite the distance between them. And if things come to a head in the final battle, I could easily see Jonathan making a quiet, irreversible decision to protect the people he loves. Picture it. The group is split. Vecna is closing in, and someone needs to buy time, hold the breach, pull a lever, jump into the fire. Jonathan steps forward. No speech, no drama, just a look, a nod, and the knowledge that this is his moment. Especially if his arc with Nancy gets closure, some final moment of honesty or reconciliation. That's the kind of emotional beat that usually precedes the death. Jonathan, most likely dead, and then there's Joyce Byers, the original warrior mom, the woman who strung up Christmas lights to talk to her missing son, who took on Hawkins' lab, who stormed a Soviet prison, who risked everything to save Hopper when everyone else thought he was gone. She is fearless, she is selfless, she is relentless, but she's also not immortal. And in season 5, I think we're going to see the full weight of her choices come crashing down. Joyce is one of the only characters who is deeply connected to everyone. She's Will's mother, she's Elle's guardian, she's Hopper's love. She's the one who held this broken group together after season 3. And if the writers want a death that feels massive, one that shatters multiple people at once, one that leaves emotional fallout everywhere Joyce is, that character, her death would break Will, it would devastate Eleven, it would destroy Hopper, and it would remind the audience just how real the stakes are. But it wouldn't be meaningless, it would be the ultimate expression of who Joyce has always been. The mom who would do anything to protect her kids, the fighter who never stops, even when the odds are hopeless, and the woman who would give her life without hesitation if it meant saving the ones she loves. There's just no version of this where all three Byers, Joyce, Jonathan, and Will, walk off into the sunset, hand in hand, smiling at the sunrise. Someone's going to fall, and sadly, it might be both of them. Verdict, most likely dead. Now let's talk about the 50-50 characters, the ones who could go either way, starting with Max Mayfield. Max is in the most terrifying place a character can be suspended between life and death. At the end of season 4, she was technically revived by Elle, but not fully. She's in a coma, she's blind, and most disturbingly, her soul's just gone. Elle couldn't find her in the void. That's not just a coma, that's spiritual captivity. And who's the one that does that kind of thing? Vecna. Vecna doesn't just kill his victims, he consumes them. Their memories, their pain, their essence. So if Max is still alive, it might be because part of her is trapped inside him, which opens up one terrifying theory that no one wants to be true. Max might become the spy. If the show doesn't go the Will is a vessel route, then Max is the most logical alternative. Imagine this. Max wakes up halfway through season 5, everyone's emotional. Lucas is crying, Elle is relieved, and then weird things start happening. Strategic failures, broken plans. Max zones out and starts hearing the clock chime. She could be Vecna's Trojan horse, a sleeper agent, someone who has to battle her own mind while her body moves against the people she loves. And even if she's not the spy, let's be real, there is no version of this where Max comes out unscarred. Whether she wakes up broken and blind or rises up to fight Vecna one last time, she's permanently marked by what happened. Her path could lead to redemption or destruction. It's impossible to say. Verdict 50-50. And now, Eleven, the most powerful person in the series. The beating heart of the supernatural side of Stranger Things. She opened the first gate. She connected to Henry. She banished him. She created Vecna accidentally. And ever since then, she's been trying to clean up the mess. Every season has ended with her saving the day. Every time she bleeds, we get a miracle. But that's the problem. It's too clean and it's too predictable, and in a final season, predictability is dangerous. Thematically, it makes perfect sense for Elle to die. She began the problem, she ends it. A sacrifice that closes every gate, seals the upside down, and frees the world. Maybe even frees Max or Will in the process. But here's the other side of it. Would they really kill her again? They've already teased it before, multiple times. Elle has died or vanished at the end of season 1, season 3, and even metaphorically in season 4 when she lost her powers. If they do it again, it might come off as repetitive. So the writers have two options. Kill Elle in a spectacular, final sacrifice kind of way. Subvert expectations and let her live but permanently powerless. Or separated from the group, or changed in some irreversible way. I'm honestly torn. There are equally strong reasons for both outcomes, and whichever one they choose, it's going to define the series finale. Verdict 50-50. Let's move into the Will probably Lev tier. The characters who are in danger, but not that kind of danger. They're important, they're active, they're exposed, but killing them would either feel unnecessary or unearned. Starting with Mike Wheeler. Let's be honest, Mike is not dying. Not a chance. He's been the emotional glue of the original party since the very beginning. He's the heart, the one who believed in Eleven before anyone else, who talked her through battles, who grounded her when she lost everything. But here's the thing, he's not a frontliner. He's not the one diving into the Upside Down with a nail bat. He's not doing psychic battles. He's not charging into burning buildings or punching demodogs in the face. He's the strategist, the speech giver, the I love you guy. That doesn't mean he's not going to suffer. I fully expect Mike to get emotionally wrecked this season. If Will dies, he's going to blame himself. If 11 dies, he'll never recover. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Mike totally break down, lash out, maybe even make a huge mistake out of grief. But death? Nah, that's not his arc. Mike's story ends with him surviving, maybe forever changed, maybe haunted by what happened but alive. Verdict: will probably live. Next up, Murray Bowman. Murray's chaotic, unpredictable, and honestly one of the most entertaining side characters the show has. The guy learned Russian in a month, flamethrower Demogorgons, and delivered some of the funniest lines in the darkest moments. But here's the truth, Murray's not essential to the final conflict. He's not emotionally tied to the core group the same way Joyce, Hopper, or the kids are. He's more like the wild card uncle who shows up, stirs the pot, and somehow survives? Could he die? Sure, but the impact wouldn't be devastating. It wouldn't shift the narrative. His death would be more of a shock than a catalyst. And this late in the game, every death needs to move the story and not just surprise us. That's why I think Murray's gonna be fine. He'll probably fake his own death at some point or disappear in an explosion and reappear with a snarky one-liner. You know, classic Murray. Verdict: will probably live. Now let's talk about Nancy and Robin. I'm grouping these two together because ever since season 4, they've been basically a duo. The strategist and the wild card, the fearless leader and the sarcastic realist. And together, they've been unstoppable. Nancy has been leading the human side charge against Vecna from the start. She's smart, composed, and tactical. She doesn't just fight, she plans the fight. Robin, on the other hand, brings balance. She's unpredictable, emotional, but sharp, and she's proven herself time and again to be someone you want on your side in the thick of battle. Their friendship has become one of the best dynamics in the show. It's raw, funny, and emotionally honest in a way most duos aren't. And narratively, they both still have room to grow. Robin's just starting to open up romantically. Nancy's still processing her feelings for both Jonathan and Steve. I don't see either of them dying, but they're not safe enough to put in the will live tier. They take risks. They go headfirst into danger. They're smart, but they're also right in the line of fire. If the writers wanted to break our hearts in a surgical way, Robin or Nancy would be perfect targets. That said, I still think they make it out. Wounded? Probably. Mentally shattered? Absolutely. But dead? Not likely. Verdict: will probably live. And finally, we've made it to the will live tier. These are the characters I'd put actual money on surviving. And not just surviving, but walking out of season 5 with a future scars and all. Let's start with Dustin Henderson. There is no way, and I mean no way, they're killing off Dustin. This kid has been the heart and soul of the show's intelligence since day one. He's the one who figures things out. He's the one who connects the dots. He's the one who finds the weird radio frequency, hacks the Russian code, tames a demo dog, invents new vocabulary mid-battle. But more than that, he's the emotional core for the audience. Funny, awkward, brilliant, brave, loyal, the perfect blend of comic relief and genuine stakes. And let's not forget this dude already lost Eddie Munson. He watched him die. He held him. He grieved harder than anyone. And if Steve dies too, that's 2 father figures gone in 2 seasons. Killing Dustin would be straight up emotional cruelty at this point, not just for the characters, for us. I think Dustin's gonna have a huge role in season 5's finale. He'll probably be the one who figures out how to collapse the gate, or how to track Vecna's signal, or how to counteract whatever new upside down mutation is coming. He's the strategist. He's the glue, and he's getting out of this. Verdict: will live. Now let's talk Lucas and Erica Sinclair. First, Lucas. His season 4 arc was one of the most quietly powerful ones. He started off trying to find his identity, to separate from the party and find his place in the real world. But by the end, it was all about Max. And in season 5, I think his entire story is going to revolve around trying to save her. Whether that means physically pulling her out of a coma, emotionally anchoring her if she wakes up twisted, or going full Inception and diving into her mind somehow, Lucas is going to fight like hell to bring Max back. He might get hurt, he might break down, but he won't die. He's too rooted in hope. He represents the will to believe even after everything falls apart, and this show needs that. As for Erica, she's one of the few new-gen characters who immediately became a fan favorite. She's sharp, she's hilarious, she's way too smart for her age, and never afraid to call out the nonsense around her. But most importantly, she's a bridge to the future. If Netflix wants to spin off this universe, and let's be honest, they do, Erica is the character you build that around. She's young enough to carry on, old enough to fight back, and compelling enough to lead. Also, the optics of killing a sassy, brilliant middle schooler, not happening. Verdict: will live. And finally, Jim Hopper, the man who already died once, the man who survived a Russian gulag, fought off a Demogorgon with a sword, and still came home to tell the tale. Killing Hopper again? That wouldn't be bold, it would be lazy. We've already cried over his death, we've already imagined what the show would be like without him. And now that he's back, now that he's finally in a position to lead, to be a father, to step into his role fully, taking that away again would just undo everything. I think Hopper's gonna be one of the emotional anchors of the final season. He's gonna lead the charge into the Upside Down, shotgun in hand. He's going to rally the broken survivors, He's going to pull Elle back from the brink, hug Joyce when it's over, and walk into whatever future Hawkins still has left. Not only do I think Hopper survives, I think he becomes the emotional rock that holds the last scene together. Verdict will live.
If you enjoyed this video and are looking forward to Season 5, click the subscribe button.